Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Uh, in today's uh in today's little video, and by little I mean it may be 20 minutes or longer, but you know what I mean. In today's video, we are going to be covering a major uh, tornado outbreak sequence that's going to be affecting the United States from today into Saturday. Right now, as we are speaking, we are currently dealing with a major tornado outbreak, or at least the beginning stages of one. Currently, we have a double enhanced risk of severe weather. One enhanced risk is from central Iowa all the way to Detroit and northwest Ohio, and another enhanced risk is from uh, like Lawton, Oklahoma, and near Wichita Falls, all the way up to southeastern Kansas, a little bit southeast of Wichita. And also there's a slight risk in the Northeast from Northeast Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey all the way into the Adirondacks and the Catskills, into upstate New York, into Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Uh, there's also a slight risk from the Ohio-Pennsylvania border and Lake Erie all the way to what do you call it, Grand Traverse in Kalkaska counties in Michigan, all the way down into Indianapolis, into Peoria, Springfield, Illinois, into Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri, into Springfield, Missouri, into Joplin, Missouri, into Tulsa, Oklahoma, into Abilene and San Angelo, all those places down to the Mexico border. There is a significant tornado threat and hail threat today with a Sig 2 intensity. Uh, let me let me tell you what that means. So here we have the two enhanced risks. The main one is from central Iowa to Detroit, and the secondary one is from Wichita Falls to points southeast of Wichita. Let's look at the tornado outlook now. We have a 10% double hatched risk of tornadoes. SIG2, CIG2. Notice these intensity profilings. Intensity, and you have intensity 1, and then 2, and then intensity 3. Well, we are currently at intensity 2 with a 10%. So that means that tornadoes have the potential to be EF3 plus. EF3s are extremely devastating, they are brutal, and they will literally ravage every single building that they will encounter. EF3s are considered strong, EF4s are considered violent. Uh, However, even if an EF3 tornado was only rated EF3, excuse me, it would still definitely have violent tendencies. Isolated areas could be over 190 miles per hour in some cases. We really don't know. I mean, strong tornadoes can exhibit violent behavior, and violent tornadoes can exhibit strong behavior. They're kind of interchangeable. So we have a 10% risk of tornadoes hatched or double hatched. I should say single hatched or double hatched, all the way from Chicago to Milwaukee to south of La Crosse to Dubuque to Des Moines to Davenport. So from eastern Iowa or central and eastern Iowa into southern Wisconsin into northern Illinois, including the Chicago area, and the stippled region goes from the SIG 1 single hatching, single stippling, goes from Detroit all the way down to Indianapolis and all the way to Peoria and Springfield, Illinois, all the way to western Iowa, all the way to a very small sliver of southeast Minnesota, all the way into just south of Green Bay, Wisconsin, into Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it also covers Lake Michigan. Uh, so that's the single hatched, single stippled regions. And then the double hatched, double stippled region goes from North Chicago to Milwaukee to Rockford to Dubuque, and that's really it. But still, regardless, very strong tornadoes, EF3 plus, are very, very, very likely. Severe weather is currently ongoing at this time, so that's why I won't necessarily read the description. I will read the 20Z update that is usually given by the Storm Prediction Center, but I will not read the full description because we still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday to cover. I'm contemplating on if I really should cover Thursday severe weather because so far it is just a marginal risk and it looks fairly innocuous. We could just take a look at it anyway, but it's not really going to be my main priority. I can just take a quick view over at it, but I'm not necessarily going to read the description. Also, we have another 5% hatched risk that goes from near Wichita Falls into Oklahoma City, into Norman. I believe Tulsa may also be in this. Uh, yeah, Tulsa is in the hatched risk of severe weather. Um, Hatched risk of tornadoes, excuse me, and the 5% as well. And then it goes into southeastern Kansas. So we have a 2% hatched risk of tornadoes from upstate New York into Vermont, into New Hampshire, into Massachusetts. So we do have an isolated risk of tornadoes over here. It's a whole lot to cover, but I have to cover other days, so it's really bombarding, and the text is really long to read. It's really wordy. So I'm just going to read the 20Z update because it gives the most present updates, the most recent updates. We have a 2% unhatched that goes from portions of I don't know what this lake is. I can't remember all the names of the Great Lakes, especially in order, but it goes from eastern Ohio to the eastern part of Michigan, north of Detroit, uh, into uh, into northern Kentucky, into southern Illinois and southern Indiana, into central and western and northern Missouri, into it just refreshes. The Storm Protection Center usually has a refreshing every 5 minutes. Uh, into Kansas, northeastern Kansas specifically, into Arkansas, into Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, also western Oklahoma as well, into southwestern and southern and central Texas. Uh, so it is a whole lot to cover. There are hatchings literally everywhere. You got a hatched risk over here. You got a single and double hatched risk over here, and you have a single hatched risk over here. So it's a lot to cover. It's a lot to cover. It's mind-boggling. We have the wind risk. Here we go. We have a 30% hatched risk, single hatched of wind from Detroit to Chicago to Milwaukee to southeast of La Crosse, Wisconsin, to Rockford. The hatching also goes into Iowa, so Dubuque, and it's really all I know is Dubuque. There are a lot of places under these severe weather risks. Definitely over 50 million at least. There are hundreds of thousands and millions and tens of millions of people that are in this risk for severe weather. The slight risk is also perpetuated in the northeast by wind. So there's a 15% wind risk, and then there is a marginal risk as well. The marginal risk isn't the main priority, it's the slight and enhanced risks. We have a 30% hatched risk of wind, single hatched in the Midwest. We also have a 30% hatched risk of wind from southeast Kansas to, I did not mean to open Discord. I don't know why it does that sometimes because my tablet's stupid, but anyway, I digress. We have a 30% hatched from southeast Kansas into eastern, or not eastern, central, western, and southwestern Oklahoma, and the hatching goes from just south of Kansas City. It may even be Kansas City. No, it's not. It goes from south of Kansas City all the way down through Norman, through Wichita Falls, and I believe it ends up in Abilene or somewhere near Abilene. It's in Southwest Texas, uh, just just northeast of El Paso, Texas. So yeah, and the 15% wind risk also goes from the Ohio-Pennsylvania border all the way down through the Midwest into the Southern Plains and into the Mexico border. And then with the hail is probably one of the more concerning things. Besides tornadoes, hail is extremely concerning and very, very gloomy and uh, dangerous and grim. We have a 5%, since I saw it first, we have a 5% risk of hail unhatched from uh, upstate New York to Vermont to New Hampshire to Massachusetts. Anyways, we will move over here. We have a 30% single and double hatched risk of hail, which means that over 4-inch hail could potentially fall from north of Chicago to Milwaukee to Dubuque and Davenport and Rockford. Again, the enhanced risk goes from Chicago to Milwaukee uh, to Dubuque to Davenport to Des Moines and Cedar Rapids. Uh, but yeah, the double hatching is that bigger, bolder black part that has it looks like a steak almost, Steak, and then the single hatching goes from northwest Ohio into central and northern Indiana, into the southwest portion of Michigan, into central and northern Illinois, into central Wisconsin, into uh, most of Iowa, into the northern and western part of Missouri, into eastern Kansas, into eastern and western Oklahoma, into southwest Texas. And Oklahoma also has a SIG-2 uh, conditional intensity group number 2 hail risk, a double hashing for Oklahoma City. So hail up to 4 inches can spawn in either Oklahoma City or just north of Chicago. If you don't know, Kankakee had a like over 6-inch hail report, which if it were to be verified, it could actually break the record. So there's going to be a major tornado outbreak and severe weather outbreak today. Many potentially strong tornadoes can definitely spawn. They have the capabilities of spawning. The thermodynamics are completely potent and primed for severe weather. Anything is possible. Really, you could have hail up to 5, 6 inches theoretically. Man, this is absolutely scary. We have a ton of decape, downdraft cape. We also have a ton of just cape in general. A lot of forcing air, a lot of rising air. So this is definitely not a good situation to be in. If you are under a severe weather risk, that is the orange, or the yellow specifically. The green, it's not really that bad if you're in the green, but definitely be weather aware. But specifically, if you're in the yellow or the orange regions, you need to be prepared immediately for severe weather, and you need to pay attention to weather radar, local weather watches and warnings, and especially updates by the Storm Prediction Center and your local National Weather Service. Remember, severe tornadoes that could be EF3 plus, that is on the enhanced Fujita scale, and it is the third, it is an EF3. 3 out of 5 on the intensity scale. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so EF5 is the maximum possible limit that tornadoes can go. Yes, there have been speculated EF6s, but an EF6 does not completely exist yet. It goes EF0, EF1, EF2, EF3, EF4, and EF5. EF3 plus tornadoes, they fall right in the middle, and EF3 tornadoes are extremely dangerous, devastating, and deadly. And if an EF3 plus tornado were to hit a populated area, it would be absolute disaster for that specific area, for that specific county, for that specific state. So please, be aware of all weather that is currently going on around you. If there are warnings that are affecting your county, specifically affecting your location, please get to shelter. If you're under a tornado warning, get to shelter. If you're under a PDS tornado warning and you don't have shelter, please leave. Evacuate your premises if you're under a tornado emergency and you don't have shelter and you cannot evacuate. Then I'm praying for you. I'm right here. I will always and forever be with you guys, and I will always be praying that the best outcome is a bust, because that is the best outcome. I'm also hoping for the littlest amount of damage. Anyway, so let's read the 20Z update. Let's not read all of this text. That is a whole lot of text. Let's just read the 20Z update. So summary. Severe thunderstorms are expected this afternoon through tonight from the southern plains into the Midwest. Large to giant hail, several tornadoes, some strong, and swaths of severe and damaging wind gusts are all likely, particularly from Iowa into the southern Great Lakes. 20Z update. A complex yet active severe weather day remains in the forecast for portions of the Midwest and Ohio Valley into the southern plains this afternoon into early tonight. While several lines were slightly adjusted to account for the latest guidance consensus, the following substantial changes and/or decisions were made. 1. 30% wind probabilities were expanded southwestward into southwest and central Oklahoma to account for the possibility of more rapid upscale growth into one or more wind-producing mesoscale convective systems or linear segments. 2. Category 1 marginal risk probabilities for a severe wind and hail threat were expanded west-southwest into Nebraska along a frontal boundary to account for two possible scenarios. First, an isolated strong storm may develop within the next few hours along the boundary as a consequence of strong diurnal heating. Second, late tonight, there is low potential for gravity wave associated convection on the immediate cool side of the frontal boundary atop a stable boundary layer. 3. Confidence is still too low for supercells across the Midwest to remain discrete for long periods of time, which would warrant a categorical moderate risk upgrade, level 4 to 5. Nonetheless, should a dominant supercell become sustained and discrete for at least a few hours, especially along the warm front over northeast Iowa into southern Wisconsin, a sustained and intense tornado will be possible. The rest of the forecast remains on track. So, unfortunately, severe weather is, like I said earlier, for like 5 times expected today. You're not going to get out of it, and it's going to be extremely crazy. It's going to be bonkers. It's going to be absolutely deadly. At least for some people, because unfortunately, there are people who die in tornadoes, and it's either because they don't believe in the government and the National Weather Service, or they just simply don't have uh, the mental state to understand that they need to take shelter, which is really unfortunate, or they simply are just unaware, or they are just at a bad place and a bad time and they get killed. Unfortunately, it's really sad, and if if and when there are tornado deaths today, I know if and when that's a bit of an exaggeration. I don't hope that people die, but it realistically, I think somebody is going to pass away today, which is unfortunate. Because this really is an extremely dangerous situation, and there's not a guarantee everybody will survive with 4-inch plus hail and EF3 tornadoes expected. We can only hope for a bust, though. We can only hope for a bust. Alrighty, so here is tomorrow's outlook. Tomorrow's outlook of severe weather. We have two slight risks. One slight risk from central Pennsylvania to central Ohio, central and northern Ohio, and then another from the Chicago, Milwaukee area all the way down through eastern and central Iowa into central Missouri, into southeast Kansas, into central Oklahoma, into north central Texas. We also have a marginal risk extending from just just west of the New York-Connecticut border, all the way through the mid-Atlantic into the Ohio Valley, into the Midwest, into the Southern Plains, and into the Mexico border. So that's two slight risks, levels 2 out of 5. For the tornado risk, we have a 2% risk of tornadoes from northwest Pennsylvania into Ohio, into Michigan, into Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma. Uh, uh, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, we have a 5% hatched risk of tornadoes. That does include Oklahoma City, does include Tulsa, does include Norman, does include Moore. And the hatching goes into extreme portions of southwest and northwest Missouri and Arkansas, into extreme portions of southeast Kansas, and the regular 5% risk without a stippled region goes into the southwestern quadrant of Missouri and the extreme northwest quadrant of Arkansas and the extreme southeast quadrant of Kansas. The wind risk, it remains a non-severe just yet, and I say non-severe meaning it's not hatched. Yes, winds are definitely going to be above severe limits, above 60 miles per hour, actually above 56, 57. However, the severity is expected to not be super high because there's nothing delineated saying that that the winds will be specifically severe. Uh, Again, this is just the wind risk, so wind is not necessarily the biggest threat. The biggest threats, in my opinion, that override wind are tornadoes and hail. Those are the biggest kinds of threats. Anyway, we do have a 15% risk of wind from central Pennsylvania to north central Ohio, and then another wind risk down from Chicago, Milwaukee into Iowa, into the plains and the Midwest. It's a 15% risk of wind. And then the 15% risk of hail is, from the same regions, from Chicago, Milwaukee, all the way down to Wichita Falls, Texas. But this time there's a hatching region, there is a SIG 1 conditional intensity group 1. There's a single hatched risk from the extreme north or southwest quadrant of Missouri into southeast Kansas, into most of Oklahoma, excluding western and eastern parts and the panhandle of Oklahoma, and into north central Texas. So there is a severe hail threat tomorrow in the southern portion of this risk. Let's read the description. Summary: severe thunderstorms posing a risk for large hail, strong wind gusts, and a couple of tornadoes will be possible across portions of the southern plains toward the Great Lakes Wednesday afternoon and evening. Synopsis: a positive tilt upper trough will be located across or over the Central Plains on Wednesday and will move across the Mississippi Valley and towards the Great Lakes late. Moderate to strong mid to high level southwesterlies will exist over much of the central and southern plains, along with cool temperatures aloft. Meanwhile, an upper ridge will hold over the southeast, with moderate winds aloft along the periphery of the upper ridge extending from the Ohio Valley into the northeast. At the surface, low pressure will develop into Iowa as the upper wave moves out of Nebraska and Kansas. A front/dry line will extend south across eastern Kansas, western Oklahoma, and west central Texas during the day. Meanwhile, an elongated stationary front will extend from Iowa into southern Wisconsin and Michigan and into the lower Great Lakes, with more of a warm front into New York and southern New England. Mid to upper 60s dew points will remain roughly from Texas into Iowa, with lower 60s dew points along the length of the stationary front. Texas into Oklahoma, into Kansas, into Iowa, into Missouri, into Illinois. A focused area of severe storm potential will develop south of the developing low and along the dry line during the afternoon. Although the wave will be moving away from Oklahoma and Texas, the dry line should stall with strong instability developing and mixed layer convective available potential energy over 3,000 joules per kilogram. Minimal lift will be required near the dry line to initiate afternoon storms, possibly before 21Z. Cells should develop from northwest Texas across Oklahoma into southeast Kansas and gain strength as 50 to 60 knots of effective shear act upon them. Both supercells and bowing structures will be possible, with areas of very large hail and damaging winds expected. A few tornadoes may occur given the strong instability and mid-level lapse rates, despite marginal low-level wind fields. Farther north, another zone of supercell potential is evident from northern Missouri into Iowa and western Illinois late in the day ahead of the shortwave trough. Here, deep layer shear vector orientation will be quite favorable for discrete supercells with hail likely. Any early day storms may affect warm sector quality, but conditionally a tornado will be possible. And then finally, from Wisconsin and Illinois eastward into Pennsylvania. Areas of heating and warm advection towards the frontal zone will result in widely scattered afternoon thunderstorms erupting over Illinois, Indiana, southern Wisconsin, northern Ohio, and western Pennsylvania by 21Z, or 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Favorable deep layer shear averaging near 40 knots and at least 1,500 joules per kilogram of most unstable convective available potential energy along this zone will favor storms producing hail and locally damaging gusts. Storm modes may be mixed. Alright, now day 3, let's take a look at day 3. I'm not too enthralled with day 3, so just for time purposes, we're gonna move on from day 3. Day 4, this was actually a surprise to me. So day 4, the risk was completely expanded by a whole lot, and a 30% delineation, which is an enhanced risk equivalent, was issued. You've never seen this before, at least when looking at my videos. Now it's here. I was very surprised, but all the models now have trended completely favorable for severe weather. And I read the description. It's bad. It's not great. We have a 15% risk from the upper Midwest all the way down into the southern plains into Texas, from Wisconsin to Texas, and we have a 30% corridor enhanced risk equivalent from central Iowa all the way down into Oklahoma City. And we also have this is for Friday, and this is for Saturday. We have a 15% slight risk equivalent from Detroit to Grand Rapids to eastern Illinois to almost the whole state of Indiana, including Gary and Fort Wayne and Indianapolis. It may include Evansville. It may, I don't, it may not be in it, I don't really know. Into the north part of Kentucky, into most of Ohio, excluding the eastern part. So this is for Friday, and this is for Saturday. Day 6, Day 7, and Day 8 have no severe weather, thankfully. So we hopefully will not have to cover any severe weather on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. I hope not. Anyways, let's read the description. So, corrected for day 5 graphic label. Discussion. Day 4, Friday. Southern Plains to the upper Midwest. A strong upper trough oriented from Montana to the southwest will eject eastward to the plains on Friday and Friday night. Southwesterly mid to upper flow will intensify ahead of this feature, with 40 to 60 knots of 850 to 700 millibar flow forecast by late afternoon into the nighttime hours. A somewhat complex surface pattern is forecast, with a lee low deepening over the central and southern high plains to western Oklahoma, and a second surface low near the mid-Missouri Valley developing northeast into Ontario. A surface dry line will extend from the high plains low to near the western Oklahoma and Texas panhandle border from into central Texas by midday. Meanwhile, a cold front will be oriented from eastern Minnesota into central Kansas at midday. Ahead of these surface features, a broad warm sector characterized by mid to upper 60s dew points will be in place as temperatures warm into the 80s. A plume of steep, mid-level lapse rates will overspread the region, resulting in moderate to strong destabilization. Forecast soundings indicated impressive wind profiles supporting supercells. Initial supercell storms capable of all hazards, including, and this is where the scary part comes up, very large hail and strong tornadoes, are expected. During the evening, excuse me, not this evening, during the evening, convection may grow upscale into a squall line as storms near the Mississippi River, with an accompanying increase in damage and wind potential. Day 5, Saturday, Ohio Valley to the Great Lakes vicinity. A severe risk will likely continue into Saturday as the upper trough continues to strengthen and shift east from the plains to the Great Lakes and Midwest. Strong deep layer flow parallel to an eastward advancing cold front will overspread a moist and at least weakly unstable uh, environment downstream air mass through the evening. This will favor a line of convection with damaging wind potential. Day 6 through 8, Sunday through Tuesday. The surface cold front will continue east on Sunday, moving offshore the Atlantic and Gulf coasts during the afternoon. Severe potential appears limited by weak instability in mainly anafrontal precipitation across the southeast to eastern United States on Sunday. Surface high pressure and a dearth of boundary layer moisture in the wake of the cold front will preclude thunderstorm activity on Monday. By the end of the period, medium-range guidance depicts another upper trough moving back into the western United States and Gulf return flow advecting moisture back into the southern plains. However, severe thunderstorm potential appears low at this time. So, hopefully, the upper trough is a miss. And I'm not saying it will miss the United States. I'm just saying hopefully it's a miss, as in it won't favor severe weather. Hopefully I'm not jinxing anything. However, really, it's up to the models to decide what they're going to forecast, what they're going to delineate. So please remember, today is the big day for severe weather. There's already severe weather ongoing. There are already a ton of severe thunderstorms that are completely growing and birthing and absolutely ruining things and ruining people. Uh, I am extremely concerned for Oklahoma City, for Norman, for Chicago, for Milwaukee, for Dubuque, for Davenport, for Des Moines, for Cedar Rapids, for Rockford, for Gary, Indiana, for Northern Indiana, for Detroit, for Grand Rapids. I'm concerned for a whole lot of people. I am so concerned. And I really am concerned about Friday because it randomly upticked in potential. And the wording, very large hail and strong tornadoes, on Friday, even though Friday's 4 days out, technically, according to the Storm Prediction Center, really 3, but you know what I mean. It's day 4, and there's still lots of uncertainty to have been ruled out. So I'm very, very concerned about what is going to come to fruition on Friday. Uh, Hope that severe weather kind of dies down, but severe weather season is just ramping up, so I'm gonna be very, very overwhelmed this season. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Hopefully, everybody survives this uh, absolutely tragic uh, day of severe weather. Have a great day, everybody.